And what?
Um, Started out with a billy goat. My brother-in-law's dad had a couple of goats, little baby ones. He said, "You take them goats." Now this is God's truth, for I lived it. Take them goats and raise them. I'll give you one. Oh, okay. So I took him two goats and built me a little shed for them and stuff, how to pick up used lumber, and I raised them goats up. Then he took one and I took the other one. So I knew of a goat man, we called him, and had goats. So I got a hold of him and I traded him that goat for a shotgun.
When the goat was
Shotgun.
full grown or still growing? Full grown goat or still growing?
Well, it was grown. Yeah, I raised it up, saying for this my brother-in-law's father, and he took his and I took mine and traded it for a shotgun, and then I traded the shotgun to a young guy for a bicycle. And then I took and traded the bicycle for a Model T Ford.
Hmm.
That's God's truth. My brother had to sign the dealer.
So how long did that process take?
Huh?
How long from the goat growing up to the time you got the Model T with all those trades?
Oh, it didn't take a year or so. I mean, I was probably, when I started raising that goat, probably maybe 14. But I believe I was 16 when I got the car. But them cars sold for $3 and $4. Some of them did $5 or trade a half dozen chickens for one.
Hmm.
That's the truth back in the.
So what did you learn from that?
Huh?
What's the principle? What's the lesson?
I mean, that's how I got my first car. Wound up
So it's about being resourceful.
out of a billy goat. I wound up getting a car. So I drove that thing for a year, but I was always having to do something to it. Jack it up, take the oil pan off, and tighten rods, and go to knocking, instead of overhauling it right. I just taken file of bearing caps, or they were poured in, so rods and the caps, they were poured, they made into the rod.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays they got inserts.
Yeah.
And or they can take it out and put in new inserts if your crankshaft's all right. But just taking, file them down, kind of shim them up to get a few more miles out of it, and just get some baling wire and pick things up.
Get some what?
Wire, we call it baling wire.
Bale and wire.
Yeah, that's what they used to bale hay with.
Okay.
Now I don't know whether to do it with strings or not. Cord,
Yeah.
It was wire, and get big old spools of that baling wire, and the hay baler. When they come out of that, it was tied up in the bundles with wire. Yeah. Then I went to CC camp and left the old car. About had it, left it with my brother to set it up, and I went to CC camp for 6 months.
What's CC?
Civilian Conservation Corps, not corps, a corps.
Yeah.
Corps. It was a government program that Roosevelt put in for young people. It was kind of like an army, like you had barracks, and you had reveille and retreat, and you had a captain and a sergeant there for the camp. But during the day, it worked for civilians.
Okay. She'll talk to you again sometime.
walked around in parks and stuff, planting trees. Some of them built roads and cabins, and CC built Starved Rock out there, the first big building.
And when was that? What year was that
That
about?
was Roosevelt started, I believe, 32 or 3 right after he got in, and it went to about 40, 1940.
So you
I
were
was in 37 and 8.
so you were a teenager.
Uh,
You were a teenager then.
yeah, I was. You had to be 17 to get in. And so I looked a couple of days. Well, I went in October, and my birthday is November, so I lied to the Lord there too. For I think I took a piece out of the Bible that I had my right date on, the wrong date, and just prove I was 17.
Huh.
And or I just told them or something. Anyway, I lied about it. I liked a month of being old enough. And a whole gang of us from El Dorado down in southern Illinois boarded the train and went to Chicago. From Chicago, took us back to Joliet, between Joliet and Morse. They had the army camp there.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk about what